In the Far East War campaign, Ray White, the Iceblade Sorcerer, and all of the 7 greatest magicians helped to end the war, but at the expense of many lives, including a person dear to Ray. Now Ray enrolls in the Arnold Academy of Sorcery. He is despised by many for being ordinary. Wanda Erica foams in the mouth after being rescued by him for slipping, and then, upon realizing he is an ordinary guy, Albert Allium is so mad he can't accept ordinary people like him. It could have started a fight had Amelia Rose not put a stop to this shameful behavior. The induction ceremony begins with Principal Abby Garnett giving her speech before Amelia gives hers, representing the students. Ray's homeroom teacher is Helena Gray Grady. She talks about the highest elite sorcerer rank known as Grand, and only 7 of them exist at one time. Among them are Abby and Carol Caroline. The other is the mysterious Iceblade Sorcerer, who is the hero of the Far East but has vanished. During practical lessons, Gray talks about the basic art of sorcery as well as some other technical stuff. The rest of Ray meets other potential characters, like Alyssa Griffith, who is trying to find some anti-material code since she is a fan of some top sorcerer researchers. Ray couldn't be more smooth as he commented on her beautiful hair and elf ears. She covers them up out of fear that people will laugh at them. Then there's his roommate, Evie Armstrong. He doesn't care about that noble crap, but only one thing. Both guys strip their tops to show off their toned bodies. Now they're buddies. Then there is Rebecca Bradley, who is one of the top 3 noble families, followed by Clarice Cleveland, who sounds bratty and all, but Ray gets a free pass after commenting on her cute twin tails. Ray attends a meeting with Principal Abby, who, despite Ray's youth, was somehow his commander in the military during the Far East War. During dueling practice, Albert attempts to beat Ray in a duel, but Ray turns out to be an expert swordsman, and Albert is humiliated. A watching Abby reveals Ray is actually the missing Iceblade Sorcerer. Seeking to enjoy his youthful life, Ray joins the Environmental Research Club, a group of muscle-bound fitness enthusiasts who seek dangerous environments to train in, revealing Ray has a gold-class hunter license. Now Ray goes to join this flower garden club, of which Rebecca is the president. However, Dina Sira opposes his admission, thinking Ray is after Rebecca. In that case, Rebecca puts Dina in charge of Ray. Do whatever tests she wants on him, and if she deems him unworthy, he cannot join. Ray's task is to clear the weeds on this plot of land and make a flower garden all by himself within a week. He only did it all in 4 days, so everyone is impressed. Ray has now joined. Soon Abby calls Ray and tells him to be wary, as there is a spy from the Empire who may already have infiltrated the academy. To show Ray did his studies, Gray has him recite all the different derivations of sorcery. For the practical exercise in the Kafka forest, they are to form groups of 4. Ray forms a team with Evie, Alyssa, and Amelia, infuriating Albert. Those who wanted her to join lucked out. She chose an ordinary. For this practical, they have to enter the forest, battle monsters, and collect stamps to earn points within a certain time frame. We see Ray's group doing their usual. Because Ray is just too extraordinary for a plain guy, this makes Amelia suspicious. Ray remembers his master telling him to keep his identity secret if he wants to enjoy an uninterrupted school life. Ray hears trouble ahead, and it is Albert's team facing off with a giant monster. Ray pulls off slick moves to kill it. At this point, Amelia is really suspicious of Ray's background. Just then, a shady person revives the monster. Despite its strength, Ray defeats the monster again, impressing everyone except the other nobles, including Albert, who grows even angrier. At the end of the day, Amelia's team scored the highest. Clarice, who saw the whole thing, is happy to cheer for them, but has to be mindful and stay quiet because it looks like the other losers are not happy with Amelia's team. Ray then visits his master, Lydia Ainsworth, who was the original Iceblade Sorcerer, before passing the title to him. She talks about the troublesome movements of the group known as the eugenics. It seems they are committing taboo stuff that no sorcerer should do by cutting up sorcerers' brains and rummaging around inside them. They approached her to join too, but she refused. According to Carol, they have also begun inviting other sorcerers. Then they talk about the upcoming Magic Sword tournament, in which Lydia won 4 times in a row during her heyday. Ray could also follow that footstep, but he prefers to lie low. She passes him a manual that might come in handy one day. Alyssa is about to head to the library when Ray stumbles into her. Also at the library is Clarice. Ray introduces the girls to each other. Then after that, he stumbles into Amelia, just finishing attending some noble event. Apparently, she noticed him hanging out with a couple of girls. Amelia takes Ray clothes shopping. After a spider scares her, Amelia accidentally exposes herself to Ray in her underwear, but finds she didn't really care if he saw her. Ray meets Academy instructor Miss Gray, a former student of Ray's from his past, as the Iceblade Sorcerer determined to help Ray relearn his lost abilities. Meanwhile, Albert begins serious training to defeat Ray, watched over by the spy from the forest. Dina gives Ray a spare key to the clubroom. Since nobody will attend today except for Rebecca, that must be just some sort of excuse, so that when Ray enters, he sees Rebecca changing. Despite her embarrassment, Rebecca isn't angry as Ray is the only person who isn't intimidated by her noble title. Ray learns to Rebecca about the other noble. The Algrins don't normally enroll at Arnold, but at the Dialm Academy of Sorcery. With the Magic Chevalier tournament coming up, Rose requests to fight Ray to see for herself if those skills are real. Ray seems to be good at sword fighting until the final move. He is not sure what flashback he sees. He drops the sword and hands Amelia a technical win. This has made his friends really wonder who he is. Ray just says that he has a master who taught him sorcery and the sword. Albert is here to challenge him to a duel. In the duel, there are no rules except to make the other admit defeat. Obviously, Albert is so angry and going all out to kill Ray, but the latter just coolly dodges everything. Albert's flashback shows he comes from a low, noble lineage. His father has been humiliated many times, so he took it upon himself to increase the family's status. Ray shows who is boss, and this only frustrates Albert to the point where he becomes a crybaby. Ray cuts through his fire dragon spell. Now Ray's friends want to really know who he is. But before he can tell, everybody is suddenly pinned down to the ground. The culprit reveals herself as Gray. As Ray could quickly deduce, she is part of eugenics, and the forest test was part of her ploy to steal students' brains. As she uses her magic to attack him, the last straw comes as she targets his friends. Ray is forced to reveal his Iceblade Sorcerer identity. Now he is so powered up that it is making Gray scared like hell. Nothing can stop him. Gray begs for her life and all. Even if this was a ploy to trick him, it didn't work. Since he won't kill her, she injects a serum right into her brain, turning her into a monster. Gray shoots a fireball in the Ray, but he stops it. Ray even explains some technical stuff and rewrites the anti-material to basically turn the magic into a void. This causes him to freeze and bleed all over, giving him enough time to defeat Gray before passing out. He is glad there are no casualties. A flashback where Lydia picked him up as the sole survivor of a village decimated by war. She, along with Carol and the rest of her military unit known as the Astrals, took care of Ray. However, a decision needed to be made about his fate. While some suggested he had to be taken to the orphanage, Carol was emotionally vouching to personally take care of him. Until Ray himself said he wanted to stay with Lydia, as long as it didn't affect their duties, this was allowed. And so Ray became part of Astrals and learned everything under Lydia for 6 years. Then the war escalated and became brutal. Many didn't want Ray to fight since the going is getting tougher, but he insisted since he is part of their family. And then one of them died. Ray overheated. The rest is history. Ray wakes up in the infirmary with Lydia, and Abby is glad that he is okay. His friends are fine, too. After Lydia leaves, Abby tells Ray the truth. She didn't want him to enroll here because of the prejudices. However, Lydia begged her since Ray had no friends of his age and should be in school rather than on the battlefield. That's why Abby hopes he lives out his school life to the fullest and finds his own happiness. That is their wish for him. Later, his friends visit, so Ray tells them the truth about his Iceblade Sorcerer identity. But Ray is in a dilemma because his hands have been stained by blood. But they don't care and accept him for who he is. He will always be the kind Ray they know. Later, when Albert visits, he is remorseful and apologizes for everything. But Ray doesn't hold any grudges and even gives advice on how he will become stronger. Amelia thinks about how great Ray is but compares it all to herself. She thinks she is not attractive enough for him. Ray complains to Abby about Carol's being a teacher here. In fact, Abby requested her help since she is very talented. However, Ray very much opposes this. Something about her true nature he cannot stand. Too bad he has to, since Carol is here to harass him. Later, as Ray observes the candidates for Magic Chevalier, he notices Amelia being flawless in her skill, but her expression shows she is troubled. She is under pressure by her father to live up to the household name and must not lose to Arian Algrins. Amelia qualifies for the tournament after beating Albert. The latter doesn't look that bitter and accepts his defeat. Later, Ray approaches Amelia and intends to help her. He is going to use Lydia's manual to train her. A flashback shows how Amelia met Arian at a party, and soon they become friends as they grow up. But that ended when Arian defeated her in a match. Thanks to pressures to live up to her noble standards, Amelia realizes she has changed, but Arian stayed pretty much the same. Next morning, Ray dons a flimsy mask and is going to be her trainer. And so begins Amelia's hell to physically train, and she has to do it all without magic enhancements. So tough is his training that Amelia has this weird vision of sexy Alyssa and Clarice flanking her before being hit by a dashing Ray. Amelia runs away, but Ray is on the hunt. Then he stumbles into Albert, who still has doubts about his strength. Ray finds Amelia and drags her through more hell. Ray recruits the muscle-bound Environmental Research Club as cheerleaders for Amelia. Ray disguises himself as a girl to infiltrate Diom Academy and meet Arian, only to meet a lost little girl resembling Arian. Ray, calling himself Lily, takes the lost little girl, later revealed to be Arian's little sister, Tiana, to meet Arian. He reveals who he is and that he is friends with Amelia. Arian has missed Amelia greatly and looks forward to seeing her at the tournament. Ray returns home, still disguised as Lily, and encounters Maria, Rebecca's younger sister, who is determined to attend the academy, especially after developing a crush on Lily. Ray takes his friends to meet Lydia, who gives the star-struck Alyssa her autograph before insisting on talking to Amelia privately. Ray learns from Lydia's maid, Carla, that Grim Reaper, an assassination squad from the Evil Empire, may infiltrate the tournament for easy access to all the attending nobles. Lydia knows Amelia is hiding a secret, which has Ray worried about her, and she assures her that Ray can be trusted should she ever tell him the truth. Ray offers Amelia a chance to graduate boot camp if she cuts the target on his chest in a duel, though the result is not shown. The tournament arrives, and Amelia easily reaches the semi-finals. Albert demonstrates his now exceptional skills and bravery, but loses his match against Arian, meaning Arian faces Amelia in the finals. Meanwhile, a Grim Reaper assassin follows Ray in secret. As Ray snooped around, he thought he had found something suspicious. It turns out to be Lex Hale, the president of the Environmental Research Club, as he brings him to see Abby and the rest. Apparently, Carla's family is part of the kingdom's elite intelligence agency, and Lex is her younger brother. They have received reports about Grim Reapers infiltrating the tournament to kidnap or kill noble women. The night before the finals, Amelia locks herself in her room. A worried Clarice and Alyssa can't convince her to come out, so it's up to Ray. So he first talks about the fear he has of entering her heart because he might break it. That's enough for her to let him in and pour out her woes. Basically, she is tired and at a loss to play this game to keep up with what everybody expects of her. This also takes a toll on her confidence that she cannot beat Arian. The meaning of life, she asks. Ray says there are none, but it's up to them to find it, because that's what it means to be alive. Amelia cries like a baby and cries to sleep as Ray holds her hand the entire night. The next day, Ray assures his friends that Amelia is okay because he slept with her the whole night. So he sees Amelia and gives her a big hug, as requested, for that much-needed motivation. That should do the trick as the epic finals begin. Meanwhile, Lex reports that Clarice and 8 other students have gone missing. Ray investigates and finds them strewn over in the basement. Grim Reapers try to barricade the place as Ray takes Clarice and runs. To show off how he can still kick ass while carrying Clarice, Grim Reapers get so scared of his abilities that now they try to run, but he freezes them over. Lex takes over so he can return to someone who truly needs him. In the arena, Amelia is knocked down repeatedly, but inspired by Ray's words, she evolves a new spell she names Butterfly Effect, claiming she is now too strong for Arian to even touch her. Amelia is so powered up that not even Arian can touch her. This mode is taking a toll on Amelia, and she is close to overheating if she is not careful. Both won't give up and will continue the fight. But in the end, Amelia wins. Because now it's time for her winning speech to thank all those she has met, especially Arian, who propelled her to go this far. Amelia recuperates in the infirmary with half her body bandaged. Ray sees her, and once again, she thanks him for everything. Thanks to meeting him, she is no longer a bird in a cage and can live as freely as she wants. With Amelia winning the rookie event, now the main expert finals are at hand. Rebecca versus Dark Horse Lucas Forst. As soon as the match begins, Lucas is freaking fast, and he ends up defeating Rebecca. As Lucas returns to the backstage area and passes by Ray, it seems Ray knows he has the title of Peerless Blade Sorcerer. Lucas also knows Ray as the Iceblade Sorcerer, and hence his reason for participating in Magic Chevalier is to show how strong he is. Because his real goal is to fight Ray, he hopes Ray will be cured of his overheating, or he can't fight him at his best next year. Meanwhile, Carol tries to use her sexy hypnotism to get those Grim Reapers to information. However, their heads explode. With the cultural festival near, Ray suggests to his class that they do a maid cafe. The nobles oppose it because they don't want to serve others. Flashback shows Amelia talk to Ray about this, and it is her wish to hold one. Because of this noble problem, she needed his help. They agree after seeing Carol model a risque maid outfit. Soon, Dina comes running to Ray with a big problem. Rebecca is getting engaged. Rebecca's father makes a blood pact with Evan Bernstein to keep her daughter safe. Now, a couple of weirdos from eugenics are claiming that Rebecca is almost in their hands because it is now certain that she is the vessel after her display at Magic Chevalier. Their revenge will be theirs. Amelia tries to force Alyssa to don a maid outfit, and Ray wants to see Alyssa in her beautiful form. And just like that, Alyssa relents. As Ray goes to the student council to submit the maid cafe proposal, he notices that only Dina and Rebecca are around. As revealed, the rest are boycotting the meeting. Cornea, who is the secretary, was supposed to be Evan's fiancé, but Rebecca stole him. Others aligned with her have also boycotted the meeting. And, of course, Ray wants to help. He goes to see Lydia for help, so she'll get Carla to do some recon. Learning about Ray's maid cafe, Ray goes on to praise Carla's maid outfit. Lydia is so jealous, but she thinks of donning one too. However, Ray laughs this joke off, as a gorilla cannot wear a maid outfit. Meanwhile, Rebecca has strange dreams of Ray and, as a result, is crying blood. Maria is concerned, but Rebecca says nothing. Then she goes to cry alone. A flashback shows Rebecca has always been treated nicely when others ostracized Maria for her fair white skin and hair. When she hit puberty, she rebelled by dressing differently since she couldn't be as pretty as her. Now she wants to help because no one should be looking sad after an engagement, but Rebecca isn't saying anything. Later, as Ray walks Rebecca home, Evan comes to pick her up. Soon Carla has some info on Evan. It turns out his mansion has had no one living there for many years. Though Evan has been attending sorcery summits and aristocratic gatherings to deceive others and avoid being discovered. This means he is after Rebecca's sorcerer's eye, and seeing how he collects them, he is definitely from eugenics. And as our eugenics weirdos further reveal, they will awaken Rebecca as Cruz and open the gate to a casa. Rebecca once tried to resist Evan, but he warned her about the deal he made with her father. And if she continues with this, Maria will also die. Oddly, she dreams of Ray during his younger days at the battlefield. Maria goes to see Ray just to tell him how she is often compared to her perfect sister. Ray vows to protect Rebecca. Rebecca sees this and gets the wrong idea, but realizes it is not her place to say it. She continues that dream, and it's like she could communicate with Ray. With that, Ray also cries blood. The festival continues, and it is going to be rocked because here comes Lily as the maid. Ray even has time to go around the festival grounds with Rebecca. When Maria leaves, a similar white-haired woman approaches her and scares her by saying Rebecca will die. Similarly, Ray is shocked to hear Rebecca's impending death from Abby. He hears the whole story from Rebecca's father, who pleads to save his daughter. The next day, Rebecca raises her death flag as she tells Ray to take care of Maria. The excuse is that she will leave Bradley's house, so she won't have time to be with her. Soon, Rebecca gets whisked away by Evan to some place where he tells her straight he is going to break her. Meanwhile, Ray makes his moves as he fights hordes of monsters in the forests. He is not alone because his friends are here to help. So while they handle these monsters, this allows Ray to go save what's most important. Ray remembers Rebecca's father revealing the cursed bloodline of the Bradleys. There is massive bloodshed revolving around Cruz once every few hundred years. Although Rebecca is far from being a Cruz, she can't control her sorcerer's eye and, at this rate, will die before she reaches 20. Maria being born like an albino is because of the aftereffects of Rebecca being born as Cruz. Hence, there may be some sort of effect on Maria too. When the eugenics duo arrives, one of them reveals himself to be Evan. The one we see all the time is actually that white-haired woman, Lieselot Eden, who is the fabrication sorcerer. Evan hates Lieselot so much and blames her. His goal is to kill her and then take Rebecca's Cruz to reach Akasa. He thinks Lieselot has been pretending to be him to keep the house alive, although she denies that is the case. She then locks him away in another dimension as Ray arrives. The other eugenics guy, Paratrogo, knows who Ray is and wants to eat him like he did for other sorcerers in Grams. Before they can fight, Lieselot puts up a barrier to explain things to Ray first. She is going to make Rebecca overheat, and in doing so, Ray will then seal her. They are already connected, so he can do it. It is a risky move, and it sounds like Lieselot doesn't care for Rebecca. She has her own objective and needs to use whatever methods are available to get it done since Rebecca's dad has commissioned her to protect her. But first, Ray has to deal with Paratrogo as Lieselot goes to deal with Evan. The dude now doesn't care about anything else except killing her. He transforms into a monster, but he gets killed. He thought she was the strongest, but she brushes that off. The strongest is the Iceblade Sorcerer, and he is the one who will rule the world. Meanwhile, Ray's friends are doing fine, but now the adults show up so as to show off their exaggerated overkill magic. Maria blames Rebecca because she never said things properly. That's why they're in this mess. Ray uses his trump card to petrify Paratrogo, who seems to figure out Ray's true form. Then, after a quarrel between the two sisters, Maria witnesses Rebecca overheating. But Ray manages to use Chrono's lock to shut off Rebecca's overheating, thus saving her life. Later that night, while waiting for Ray to watch some fireworks, Rebecca and Amelia agreed to compete for Ray's love. The next day, Ray visits the grave of Howard, one of his comrades, with his friends tagging along. Just then, Arian arrives to invite Ray to join her in the Magic's war, much to his shock.